Okay, so hello, this is Zero, and this is an analyze video of my Final Fantasy 12 any percent PB, which also happens to be the world record. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the different strats we use and do some commentary I usually don't have time to do during my runs because it's this run is hard and it requires a lot of focus. So, but yeah, let's go. In this, let's talk about the settings here first. They, as far as we know, they really don't matter. I like to run with subtitles on because that's how I like it. But yeah, it's all these starting, um, all these starting settings are reference, I think. But yeah, so the timing starts when you press new game, and it starts with 3 cutscene skips. How I skip cutscenes are skipped by pressing start the next, so I just mash start the next. There are some cases, or a lot of cases actually, where just mashing start the next at all times doesn't work. But I will talk about more of them later. So yeah, here we get to tutorial, and you can complete the tutorial by either turning your camera or pressing R3 3 times, and pressing R3 3 times is faster. I press R3 4 times because in case it doesn't register one of my button presses for whatever reason. But the start is pretty straightforward. Rex's stats are a little bit varied because random. So his HP varies a little bit, which hardly matters, and the MP varies from 32 to 35, which matters a little bit. But I'm gonna explain that after explaining this menu that's coming up. So here you go to the config, and battle mode should be active, battle speed fastest, and cursor position to last selection. You don't have to fight that guard, so you just run past him. And then there's a cutscene skip before the fight, and then the fight against Ericada Remora starts. So against Ericada Remora, Ericada is weak to Thunder, so you would like to use Thunder, but you don't have enough MP to just spam it all the time. Also, Ericada Remora, you will use a move called Remora Strike, which takes up the whole ability queue. The ability queue has 8 slots, and moves require a certain amount of it. For example, Remora Strike requires the whole 8 slots, and Thunder requires 1, and 8 plus 1 is 9, so so Remora Strike and Thunder cannot happen at the same time. So starting and after you start the fight by using 3 Thunders. If you have 34 or 35 MP, you can run around in circles during this whole fight and regain enough MP to cast a 5th Thunder. But usually, if you have a 33 or 32 MP, then you can only cast 4 Thunders in this fight. So typically you start by 3 Thunders, then he will use Remora Strike, then you use an attack so Thunder doesn't get blocked or delayed, and then you use the Thunder. But here, this character over here is Bosch. Bosch deals the most damage of Bosch deals the most damage in this fight, and as you can see, he deals 100 damage, which is way more than anyone else. So if Bosch gets a combo in this fight, it makes the fight a lot faster, which is why the fights sometimes vary. Like if Bosch gets 2 pretty long combos, this fight can be really fast. But yeah, so this is the second Thunder, and then there's the third Thunder. And here is the Remora strike. He will pretty much always use it after 3 Thunders. Sometimes he can get it off before the third Thunder, but that's pretty rare. But yeah, there's 3 Thunders, then 1 attack, then another Thunder, and then 2 attacks. Or attacks until he's dead. As you can see, Rex is down at 4 HP. And it is possible that Aircutter Remora can kill you. It is very uncommon though. And it's a damage roll if both of the 2 Remora strikes hit Rex. Rex has both chance of blocking and Remora strike has a chance of missing. And also these minor guys can throw potions at you, and they pretty often do. So you also have to not get potioned for you to die, and even then it's a damage roll, so it's pretty unlikely, but it happens. But yeah, if you had enough for a 5th Thunder, you would use it after 2 attacks. Like 2 more attacks after the 4th Thunder, and then you can use the 5th Thunder. And that's the fight. After the fight, you just run past these 3 guards. And there's a very minor trick here. Just before, like there will be sort of like a mini cutscene when you pass or when you get on the top of these stairs. And if you release Flee just before that, as you will see here, I released Flee, and then I immediately reached the trigger, and it skipped the cutscene of Rex, or it skipped the animation of Rex taking out his sword. And that saves a very little time, but it saves a little bit of time, so it's worth doing. But the timing for it is a little bit precise. You have to stop fleeing right before you reach the cutscene. And if you just keep fleeing, then you will get the animation here. But since I entered the trigger without fleeing, after the text mashing, Rex starts with the battle stance and does not do the animation. Then there's another cutscene skip. Then you should flee here. Because this guy, if you run past the first shoulder, he will target you instead of him. It usually doesn't matter if you flee or not, but in case you happen to be in front of him, I just always flee, because why not? It doesn't hurt anything to flee. So yeah, here's some more text smashing. And you want to make sure that your cursor is on attack while you enter this screen, because there will be a fight. So there's a there's a cutscene skip, and then there's a fight against 3 guards. So there's Imperial Swordsman A, B, and C. And if you just mash X, you will always target Imperial Swordsman B first. And the swordsmen all have a little bit of different stats, but the stats are always the same. So B has always the same stats, C has always the same stats, and A has always the same stats, but they don't have same stats between each other. So the goal of this fight is to kill all the guards with 2 hits. And while doing so, you want to lure them towards the door, which is your next destination. So that you have to run as little as possible after the fight. So it starts with the guard guard B. Guard B will always die to 2 hits. But he has a chance of blocking. I think guard B's defense is lower than the others. I don't know how his HP is at, but I think his defense is lower than the other two, so you will always get good enough damage rolls to kill him with 2 hits. And there you can see what Rex hit for 42 and 42, which I don't think you can even get 42s against the other 2 guards. So after that, it depends on the positioning, which one you'll target next. In my experience, it's usually the C, but you want to pay a little bit of attention to that, because they have different amount of HP. Guard C has more HP than Guard A. C has 2 HP more. So I put my cursor on magics just to be ready to cast Thunder in case I get a bad damage roll at the first hit. So I got 38 there. You can hit from the lowest damage you can deal with a single attack is 35, and that guard has 70 oh, I should know this. 73 HP. No, 74 HP. So it is possible with the 38 damage roll there that that guard will, if I hit 35, that guard will not die off the second hit. But I will take that chance. I usually take the chance if it's like 35 to kill. But if I need 36 to kill, then I will use the Thunder. And then the same thing for the other guard. The other guard has less HP, but I hit the lowest damage value, which is 35. And this guard has 73 HP. Whatever the number is, it's 2 less than the other guard had. So my thresholds are, if I hit 37 or less on guard C, then I will use the Thunder. And if I hit the 35 on the guard A, then I use Thunder. And as I hit 35, I use the Thunder to make sure I kill him with 2 hits. And as you can see, I'm at the door. Especially if you use a Thunder, then you're for sure at the door when the fight ends. But using a Thunder is a little bit slower, so you don't want to do it unless you have to. So that's the end of the Rex section. I kind of want to do one thing. Oh, it was a bad idea. Never mind. Let's carry on. So yeah, here's the first well, I guess the second instance after the initial cutscene skips. But first instance of multiple cutscene skips in a row. Typically if you have a multiple cutscene skips in a row, there's like a how do I explain this? There's like a short period of time where you can press start and it will pause, but you will not be able to skip a cutscene. You will not be able to skip a cutscene, and it will cost some time. So sometimes just mashing won't work. And I have a 7-second rule that after, like, you can always mash for the very first cutscene. But if there's cutscenes after cutscenes, then I usually wait for 7 seconds before I start mashing. That works in most situations. But some instances, like in that, and there are some exceptions where it doesn't work, and those I just memorized. And that's cutscenes is one of them. The first cutscene is a little bit shorter, so there you can just mash. You can skip the first cutscene and start mashing very fast after the first. Skip. But yeah, now there's the rat fight. So as you can see, there are 3 rats. This rat dies. This rat stays where he is, and this is the one you want to kill first. This rat will run all the way down that way, like in the map over there. And this rat will run over here. So the strategy is to start charging attack for this rat as soon as you can, and then attract this rat's attention. So you run close enough to this rat that this rat will target you, and then you run back and kill this guy. And that if the manipulation works correctly, this third rat will run down to the center as you kill this rat. So the rats are also this rat and this rat are damage rolls, especially this rat. This rat has the most HP, and he is pretty often a 3-hit. This rat is always a 2-hit, and this rat is usually a 2-hit. But with very bad damage rolls, that one might be a 3-hit as well. So what I do, how I target this rat is I open the menu, but I will not select attack until this rat has run past this rat. Then rat A here becomes the default target, and well, he will get default targeted. But yeah, then running about the halfway on the stairs, and that should get the attention of this rat. And then just do 2 hits. Well, I didn't get unlucky and killed with 2 hits. Vaan doesn't have thunder, so you can't use thunder in this fight. So this rat is always 2-hit, and then the last rat comes down as planned. And that is the fight. Then here is also another exception to the 7-second rule. This one I know for sure it's 5 seconds. So skip once, then wait for 5 seconds, then skip again, then wait for the Rabanastre music, and then skip the 3rd cutscene. Yes, the rats give 2 LP each, which is how you get the 6 LP you need for Accessories 1. But yeah, here it's fastest to go between these pillars to the next section, which is to Miguelo's. And Miguelo, there's just 1 cutscene skip, then you have to run to Sen-sei. Vaan also has his HP and MP randomized, but I will talk about those when they become relevant. So yeah, to Sen-sei, then there's one cutscene skip here, and then there's a lot of text mashing. So here you want to press no to that yes or no question. It doesn't really matter if you press yes. It's just a couple of extra text boxes. So you don't want to waste too much time doing it. Or making sure you press no. So I usually just hold down and just pause for a second with mashing and then start mashing again. And if I get it, then great. If I don't, then oh well. it defaults to yes, so that's a little bit annoying. But yeah, this is just a lot of text mashing. I would skip this, but I actually want to talk about acquiring the first license here. So here, you have to press up X, up X, but there's a lot of delay. But what you can do is you can mash X and you can hold up and mash X and hope that you hit the excess race 1, and that's a way you can do with during the whole game. You can just hold up and mash X if you are comfortable enough with that. I mess it up a lot, but it happens. And then this is annoying that you have to press square there. It breaks the mashing pattern, and you have to mash X, then mash square, and then mash X again. It's annoying. You can press square too few times or something like that, and it gets annoying. So next up is Rogue Tomato. But during this, on our way to Rogue Tomato, we want to talk to this Banga right over here, this green guy. He will give us a small package. You can just mash X there, and he will give you the small package. And small package, it sells for 150 gil. There's, I guess I should go back and, no, not that far. Should go. Damn VLC. So yeah, you should go. Here you have a cutscene skip. It's about 5 steps. Like, once Vaan reached the bottom, it's 5 steps and then immediate cutscene skip. That's my trigger for this one. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skip. Or I skip on 5. So then just run to the east gate. Yeah, here is Esther's End, and in here there is a chest that can contain a high potion or a potion or some random small amount of gil. I don't think it's worth it, but it is there if you really want some gil. The high potion, getting a high potion from that chest would be nice, but it's a little bit out of the way. It's near this rock. You can't really see it from this camera angle, but it is there. Also, I should talk about this wolf. This wolf can be somewhere around here. You really don't want to get spotted by the wolves. So if this wolf is like around here, then you want to go this way. Past the rocks, but because I got fortunate enough that the wolf is over here, I can just run straight through these rocks to Rogue Tomato. But you want to avoid him as much as you can. And there's another wolf over here, and he's facing this direction. He's pretty close, so I have to kind of work around him as well. So it's a little bit of obstacle, like avoiding obstacles. And then you want to start charging for attacks before you approach Rogue Tomato, so you can instantly hit him once you reach him. You can actually die pretty easily in this fight, so want to keep that in mind. Also, Rogue Tomato is a damage roll. He has that's a 2-part fight, And each fight has 67 HP. And your damage will deal around 20. I'd say 21 is probably average hit. So it's a little bit below what you need. But if you get really good damage rolls, you can kill him with 3 hits. And I got a 23, which is... The maximum is 24 and the minimum is 18. Both 24 and 18 being extremely rare. But I got 23, which is the usual, the best, not really rare damage roll. And I got it again, so this is a very good chance for a 3 hit. But then I got 20 HP from the 3rd hit. So this was 1 hit away, or 1 damage away from killing him with 3 hits. So even with the 2 very good damage rolls, the 3rd damage roll, if it's bad, it's just not gonna happen. And then I kited there a little bit to try to minimize the damage Rogue Tomato does. Rogue Tomato can use a move called Ram. And I think he likes to use it if you're far away. That's just something I've noticed. I don't know if it's true or not. But I like to keep close to Rogue Tomato whenever he's choosing whatever he's doing. But then when he starts targeting for... When he starts charging for attacks, I try to run away so that he will not be able to get a hit off. But I failed it this time. I'm left with 58 HP though, so which is pretty good. It's pretty solid. It should be no problem. But if you're low on HP at this point, like say below 45 HP, I would say. I would probably do it with 40, but if you want to play safe, you can potion here. It wastes much less time to use a potion here or than what it would do if you used it when you're fighting Rogue Tomato. Anyway, Rogue Tomato is now far away, and because he is not aggravating, he has 67 HP right now, but because he is technically at half HP, his HP will regenerate while you are away. So typically he will gain HP or 2 while you run. So the the second part is harder to 3-hit than the first part is. And the wolf is here as well. He can see you, like he saw me there. But because I have 58 HP, I think I should be fine. And Rogue Tomato used the Ram there. Ram deals more damage, and when he uses Ram, he usually gets more attacks off, which is very annoying. And then he uses a move called Flame Breath, which I fortunately blocked. Flame Breath deals about 25 damage. It's definitely Rogue Tomato's most lethal attack, and he will always use it in the second phase here, only once. But yeah, you have to be prepared for it. If you can't just go into the fight with 20 HP and expect to win unless you get the lucky block. Especially with the wolf here. This wolf that followed me from where he was, he usually hits me twice and then he runs away. For some reason, that's what usually happens for me, at least. But yeah, blocking the... there he used a combo and then he ran away. And I got another block, making the HP pretty nice. And that was Rogue Tomato. 3 hits for first part, 3 hits for second part is... 4 hits for first part, 4 hits for second part is the typical outcome. And if you're on very low HP, this wolf can lunge you to death. So you have to watch out for that. Lunge deals about... I know it can't deal more than 10 damage. And I'm skeptic. I'm not sure if it can even deal 9 or 8. I know for sure it can deal 6. And probably more. But anyway, the wolf can hit you lunge. I don't think he can hit you multiple times. So there's once you get back, you talk to kites. I hope you didn't miss it. If you did, just go back and see which NPC I talked to. And then there's 3 cutscene skip. The 7-second rule works for these cutscene skips, so it's nice. And yes, I believe the blocking chance is 5%, so it was pretty lucky to get 2 blocks. But then again, the wolf comboed, I got the ram and stuff, so... And blocks don't really make it faster. Oftentimes in this run, actually, blocks... Like, sometimes when you get, like, random blocks, it makes you actually lose time with not much of a gain, so it's sometimes annoying when you block. Especially in the first rat fight. It can mess up the rat AI manipulation if you get a block, which is kind of funny. You get a block and then you lose time because of that. And I should go back. Here, over there, there's a chest that can spawn, and that one is definitely worth it. Well, most of the times it's not worth it. But you want to grab it anyway, because that chest has a chance. I don't remember the exact chance. I should probably look it up. But it has a chance of containing a Phoenix Down. It can be Phoenix Down or Red Fang or some very small amount of gil, maximum of which is 20. Let me see. It appears 70% of time. It's 50% gil and 50% Phoenix Down. So when it's spawned, it's 25% being Phoenix Down. But if you get that, then if you get the Phoenix Down, you don't have to pick up any other chests in the next area. So if you get it, you save about 10 to 15 seconds, I would say. So it's a very nice thing to grab. But overall, it's 17.5% chance to get it. So it's pretty rare. Yeah, then you go to Old Dalan's, and there's one cutscene skip and then deck smashing. And then leave. And there's 3 occasions where you talk to Old Dalan. The first 2 times, afterwards you run backwards, and the last time you run forward. So that's something to keep in mind. But it messes up like your muscle memory. You never remember which way to go. But yeah, then to Southgate and the Giza Plains. And in this next area, the goal is to get 125 gil. We often talk about 90 gil, but that's because there's what's it called? There's a guaranteed potion chest right at the start of this first screen of Giza. So we usually count that we always have this chest. So we don't. That's not counted towards the 90 gil. So if you want to count this chest, then you need to get 125 gil. And I can actually show you. This. Oh. This thing should probably be above everything else right here. So I have this. This is from my notes. This is originally Emanon's sheet. Or here. This you can insert the how many of each things you got, and it will automatically count here how much gil you need. And I need 1250 gil in this column for it to work, or for to have enough money for because I need to get up to 8 Phoenix Downs. And if I get the 1 Phoenix Down from the chest, then this number is reduced to 1000. And as you can see, I'm already way above 1000. So that's that. Just showing a little bit of behind scenes. I hope you will enjoy looking at my notes. I will get back to my notes later. And then there's a chest that can spawn over here, and then there's a chest that spawns there. I typically these chests aren't that great, in my opinion. But I do pick them up if I can pick them up without taking out my weapon. So there's this hyena and this hyena. This hyena can spawn like all the way in the map over. He usually spawns around here, like closer to the first chest. I even skip the first chest if the hyena is too close, but he almost never is. But depending on where that hyena is and if he is able to target me if I pick up this chest or this chest, then I choose whether or not to actually pick them up. And here the hyena was able to target me. As you can see targeting by the color of your name. So you haven't been targeted if your name is white, but if it's on red, you are targeted by something. It can be by yourself or by the enemy. In this case, I know it's the hyena. And you can also see the target lines there. The red target line to see that an enemy is targeting you. It also matters who is actually getting targeted in AoE attacks, even though everyone gets the red thingy. But I will get to that when it's relevant. But yeah, I got targeted, so I did not pick the chest. That's just how I do it. If you want to be safe, go ahead and pick up those chests every time. I'm not blaming you if you do. But yeah, then you head to this village. So there will be an NPC over here that you have to talk to. But if you just run straight to her, you will actually run to where she spawns. So you have to make a little bit of, you can see me doing a little bit of a stop, like for half a second, and then carry on. And that's so that she will have enough time to spawn before I get there. Oh, you probably didn't see it, but maybe I did it a little bit different there. And then there's a cutscene skip. And then you want to run backwards. You can just run. I forgot to mention at Rogue Tomato, you can just hold your left analog stick backwards, and you usually get at least pretty close to. If you might need to adjust a little bit at sometimes, but you pretty much get in straight line back to Rabanastre if you just run backwards. And here too, you want to run backwards a little bit, but you can turn your camera around because it gets a little bit tricky at the moment here. Yeah, so Penelo joins your party and gives you 3 Phoenix Downs, which is very nice because you need, as I mentioned, you need 8 Phoenix Downs. So yeah, then over here, there's a chest on this bridge. And that chest is actually pretty good. It can contain either a high potion, ether, or some gil. The chest in the previous area where they were both, I believe, either potion or antidote or gil. But this chest, like, both high potion and ether sell for more than 100 gil. So if you didn't use a potion at Rogue Tomato, which by the way should be added as a 35 extra gil you need, if you did, then this will always be enough if you get high potion or an ether. It can be up to 80 gil, and it is more likely to have an item or a gil than the gil. It appears like 2/3 of the time. And yeah, so but to get it, you have to go to this bridge, and I look at my mini map here, and I check where these 2 dots are. These 2 dots are Earthstrixes, and you can actually steal a large feather from them, which sells for 71 gil, which is pretty good. Or you can steal Earthstone, which is 35 gil, and something else that I'm not sure what the last steal is. But I don't think it's very valuable. But anyway, I typically send Vaan to steal, then I switch my party leader to Penelo to grab this chest. And then I switch my leader back to Vaan, who is usually stealing. But I only do that if the Earthstrixes are reasonably close, because it is actually faster to just go and grab the chest and run back than to do this stuff. But the extra gil you might get from the steal, I think makes it worth it. So here the Earthstrix is close enough, so I sent Vaan there and do this trick. I got the ether. The ether means that I'm good on gil. And then I steal the Earthstone. And let's go back a little bit. A little bit more. There's also a chest right here that you can pick up. That chest is not as good, but it's still worth picking up because it's so close. It's usually worth picking up. If you don't have enough gil by that point. So I'm actually not sure if I don't think it doesn't look like it spawned for me. But even if it did, I wouldn't have gone for it this time because I got the ether. So I got the ether and the Earthstone, and then I just leave. And that means I'm good on gil. So also over there, you can't see it from here, but there is a chest that can spawn over there. That chest can contain either escutcheon or eye drops. And escutcheon sells for 150 gil, so that's a very nice thing to do. But it's a little bit out of the it's a lot out of the way. I say it's about 8 seconds to get it. So some people don't think it's worth it. I think it is if you are very low on gil. If you are almost there, then I won't bother with it. Or if I'm almost there, I won't bother with it. And if I'm already there, I definitely won't bother with it. And here also there's an NPC you have to talk to over here. But as you can see, he's not spawned yet, so I have to stop here for a second and then go and talk to him. And he will start the Sunstone side quest. Or side quest. You actually have to complete it in order to go with the game. So here I set my cursor on items, and I do it here because I do it here and not before, because I have to mash X to talk to that kid. And sometimes if I miss, if I'm poorly positioned and I press the and I mash X when my cursor is on items, I will accidentally use a potion. That has happened to me so many times. I just keep my cursor on attack so it won't happen. And I switch my cursor to items here. And what you also want to do is you want to make sure that your items cursor is on potion, or if you have either antidote or eye drops, you want to have your cursor on one of them instead. It is automatically on potion, but we want to make sure if you get an antidote or eye drops that you use them instead. There's two reasons. One is that potions sell for more gil than antidotes and eye drops, so it's more worth it to use antidotes and eye drops. And the second reason is that when you are selling in the shop, it's faster to sell 11 potions, and it's faster to sell 11 potions than 10 potions and an antidote, for example. But yeah, this is both a review of my PB and going over general strategies. Like, I'm trying to include other strategies as well as what could have happened in my PB but didn't, and stuff like that. And this is like one of these cases. Also, there is a little bit of a drawback for using the antidote or eye drops instead of a potion, though. And that's that the animation for those is a little bit shorter. So the idea here, this trick is called a pitted warp. What you do is you immediately at the start of this screen, like in this screen, you have to run to that crystal, touch it, and come back. But the idea here is to have Penelope throw the item, and that will make her stay still when you go and touch the crystal, and then you can switch your leader back to Penelope in order to get back to the zone. And what you want to do is you want to throw the item as fast as possible, but antidote and eye drops, the animation takes a little bit less time than the potion. So as you can see, the potion animation just stopped just as I reached the crystal, but the antidote and eye drops animation will stop a little bit sooner, and then Penelope will start running back just a little bit, so you lose a slight bit of time. It's like less than a second you lose, but you lose a little bit of time there. But you save that same time at the shop, I think, and you get 10 more gil. So that's nice. That's why you should use the other item. And here is the Sunstone. Each of these Sunstones have a chance of giving me from anywhere from 25 to 55% of energy. And I got very lucky, and I got the highest roll, which is 55%. And if you can do math, you can see that this can take either 2, 3, or 4 crystals. And obviously 2 crystals would be ideal situation, and 55% gives the best chance for 2 crystal. It is still far from guaranteed, though. If you get 55% chance, I think it's about 1 in 3 chance of getting the 2 crystal. And overall, it's 7% chance of getting the 2 crystal. And it's about 10% to get the 4 crystal. And 4 crystal is, at least for me and most of the experienced runners, it's a reset. But when you start running this game, you shouldn't worry about it. I will point out where the 4th crystal is. And here you can see that Penelope is targeted. And when Penelo is targeted right before a crystal, you want to do this menu. And this menu is, you have to do it that you have to do the menu at some point. And you need to do this menu at some point, and here it actually saves a little bit of time than doing elsewhere if Penelo is targeted. Because if Penelo is targeted, then doing this menu here will cancel her animation of taking out the or going into the battle stance or whatever. You might see it here. But if Penelo is not targeted, don't do the menu here. Do it at the next crystal if Penelo is targeted. Or if you never have Penelo targeted at the crystal, then just do it in Rabanastre. I will point out where to do it. But yeah, in this menu, you want to remove all of Penelo's equipment, which acts as a ATB reset and thus cancels the animation. I will talk about ATB resets more. And you want to remove Vaan's armor. Only the armor, not the helm. It's important. I will explain that as well later. Penelo's armor is taken off, so it could be sold before she leaves the party, as she's about to do. But yeah, touching the crystal, didn't get lucky enough to get the 2 crystals, so that's 90%. Only 90% after 2 crystals, so it's the typical case of 3 crystal. Also, there's a chest here that can contain an ether. I usually always go for this chest if there are no hyenas around, even if I have enough money, because I actually would like to keep 1 ether. It's a nice safety item to have, and it only takes like a second to grab this chest. It's right here. It didn't spawn this time, so I can't show you, but it is there. Especially if you are still not good on Gil, pick that chest up. But even if you are not, especially if you're a new runner and would really like those safety eaters, then definitely go for it. I only go for it if the hyenas are not around. They wouldn't have been this time, but the chest didn't spawn, so I didn't go for it. And there's also a chest hidden behind this these bushes. That chest can contain a remedy. Also, if you're a new runner, you might want the safety remedy or something. So it might be worth picking up for new runners, but I only pick it up if I'm not good on money at this point yet. It's a little bit out of the way. And yeah, there's another. If Penelo is targeted, do the menu here. And you can open that menu too early, which is a little bit annoying. But no matter which crystal you do it, but it's less than a second you lose, so it's whatever. And yeah, you get automatically transported to Chin. I guess I should go back and tell where to go if you get the 4 crystal now. So if you get a 4 crystal, when you touch this crystal, you want to go back. You go left to the village, and then you go straight. From that village, you go straight. You take the same exit you took after getting Penelo, but then instead of going south, you go north, and it's in that zone. But it wastes about 1.5 minutes or something. It's quite a lot. But yeah, then Jin. Nothing really happens here. There's just some dialogue, and mashing. But this is a good place to figure out what to do with the gill. So I will show you what my notes would look like at this point. So here, I have a slot for ether. I have one at the ether because I got one ether. I would have a 35 in this gill section. This is where I mark just my random gill. And the Earthstone sells for 35 gil, so I marked it here. I probably should have a slot here for Earthstone or Firestone or whatever you can get. You can steal stones from those hyenas if you really need money. And then I see that I have 1306 money, and that's a lot. So I can go down to 10 and still 10 potions and still have enough money for Destia 1. So I know I can keep 10 potions, and that means I can sell 10 potions, so I can keep 2 potions, and that I explain what I need potions for in a second. But yeah. But yeah, then you would just, after talking to those guys and figuring out your gill, you just want to leave. If you're still low on gill, you can pick up these chests again. They respawn. This chest and this chest respawns. The guaranteed potion doesn't respawn, but if you skipped it first time, maybe if the hyena was too close and you wanted to skip it, you can pick it on the way back as well. Also, one thing to mention is that if you use the old strats where you use gambits against Giz, or just don't want to learn gambitless Giz strats, which is completely understandable at the beginning, you want to turn off Penelo's gambits here, assuming you are playing on active speed. All stuff that are that I do while running is often not worth it. Like, okay, using a potion to do the pitted warp is probably still worth it if you're playing on ATB weight, but a lot of other stuff would not be. Like turning off Penelo's gambits here would not be worth it if you're playing on weight at this point. And yeah, you can pick up these chests again. I won't talk too much about ATB weight strats. So if you use ATB weight, just you just have to realize if something doesn't work. Think if it's because of ATB weight, and then adjust a little bit. Like, there are some setups and stuff that won't work. And if you didn't do the menu yet, do it here. The menu where you remove Penelo's equipment, all Penelo's equipment, and Vaan's armor. Then you get here, Penelo leaves your party. You talk to old Dalan. And again, this is the second time, so you're still you still hold down when you finish talking to Dalan. There was also a cutscene skip, and there's also a cutscene skip after you leave. So this is the only time when you have a cutscene skip when you leave Dalan's place. So that's something you easily forget. Then you run this way. This is the most optimal way. There's also the there was the Phoenix Down chest again, if you want to pick it up. It's the same chest that was that I mentioned earlier. And then we go to Miguelo's to buy those Phoenix Downs. And oh, let me slow this down a little bit for you guys. So what you want to sell is you want to go first, or at least I go first to the items, and I sell whatever I have figured out. So I have figured out that I want to sell 10 potions and 1 ether. You want to keep as many potions as you can. Typically 2 is enough. One is if you want to go a little bit risky. But typically you need 1 just for safety. And then 2, you want to keep 2 for extra safety, especially if you have a high HP Vaan. I will talk about what that means in a very short term, like after a really short time. And then I decided I need to sell the ether. You want to keep the ether if you can, but usually you just have to sell it because it's a lot of gil, and you really don't want to waste too much time to get enough gil, unless you are at the beginning and like starting to run this game, and you want to keep the ethers for safety. Then you might not worry about the early time losses to get a little bit more resources. But yeah, the small package always goes, and if you get the airstone or large feather or whatever, that too, never sell the teleport stones. Actually, you can, but that's only for a very special case. Or, well, you are committed to something at that point. And I will not talk about it yet, but I might forget to talk about that teleport stone later, but that's all I'm saying. But yeah, sell the dagger and sell the leather cap of Penelos, and sell only 1 leather clothing. You want Vaan to have armor for the next couple of dungeons, so you don't want to sell both of them, even though you can, because you also removed Vaan's leather clothing, but you want to keep it. Then the Orakia armlet you can sell. Never used it. And then buy 5 Phoenix Downs, or 4 if you happen to get the chest in Lowtown, or the Phoenix Down from the chest in Lowtown. So now I should talk about Vaan's stats. And Vaan's HP is actually pretty important. One can start with either 102 or 104 HP with the armor on. Both the armor pieces give Vaan 10 extra max HP. So so depending on how much armor you have either 8, 9, or 10, and then 2 or 4 as the last digit. So it's 82, 92, 102, or 84, 94, 104. With or without the armor, depending on how much armor you have. So you want to be at the 90s. So that's why we removed the armor. And we removed the armor instead of the helm, because armor reduces my defense to 0. And then we get to the Dustia crit down. So I have a 92 HP Vaan here. You could also have 94 if you got the high HP Vaan. And high HP Vaan is actually bad in this case, because you need to hit yourself twice. And it's a damage roll if you have the high HP. So that's a little bit annoying. Vaan's MP also varies. That makes hardly any difference. 27 is the best you can have though, so it varies between 25 and 27, and as for MP, more is better. So this wolf can hit you. If he lunges you, you need to use a potion, or otherwise this crit down method will not work. And if he targets you, you have to... If he doesn't target you, you can start attacking Vaan around here. But if he doesn't, then you need to run at least up to this point before you release Flee. And then immediately attack yourself. And you do it twice. And be careful, there is a chance that Vaan will combo. So just be cautious with that. Vaan's damage rolls, I think they are from 41 to 46. And that gives maximum damage roll of 92 and minimum of 82. And as you can see, 92 will kill Vaan. Now you might say that it's worse to have a low HP because of that. But the 46 damage roll is very rare. And even though you see the 46 sometimes, but I have never seen two 46s. And I have ran this game a lot. So if you get the double 46 when you have the low HP, then it's just something that happens. That can theoretically happen. And if it happens to you, I'm sorry, you got very unlucky. But I still consider low HP better than high HP. Just because you don't have the chance of a damage roll. You also have a chance of blocking yourself, which is dumb. But, oh well. But yeah, if you have but the lowest is 82 damage, which brings you down to 10. And 10 is the maximum you can have for this to work. So if you have 94 HP, and you hit 41 twice, or 41 and 42, you will not be at 10 HP, and you will have to potion and redo it again. And that's why you need the potions. For the wolf and for the damage down. So, if you have the low HP Vaan, you are always good with 2 potions. If you have high HP Vaan, I would advise you to just keep as many potions as you can without wasting too much time. Like, I have had to use 3 potions. But more than that, it would get really rare, so you shouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, as soon as the second hit lands, go to the menu, turn your battle speed to slowest, and optimize Vaan. This optimization will cancel any combo you would have, so you don't have to do any tricks to prevent combos, which we will talk about. Those tricks will be talked later. But yeah, here's the damage down. Get below 10 HP, then optimize. And optimize makes your maximum HP 102 or 104, which means that 10 HP is below 10%, which is where we need to go. So after that, there's the Dustia farming starts. And I'm gonna stop the first video here and take a small break, use the bathroom and stuff, and then continue with the second part.